All right, kiddos, we are starting a new unit on chemical reactions today. And I know that some of you seeing that name are probably already thinking, like, wait, we're not in a lab, we're not in person. How are we going to study chemical reactions? You can study chemical reactions, they're happening everywhere. You don't necessarily need a lab. So we're going to get creative about this, but they're happening everywhere around you, in the air, in your body right now. Chemical reactions don't just happen in a lab. I want to go ahead and squash that myth right now. Before we get into kind of what we're studying and the why of why we're studying, I want to kind of do a quick review of what is matter. We all know that matter is the smallest unit. It has three main parts: protons, neutrons, electrons. You might not know that part, but it's a basic building blocks of matter, is the smallest part of any substance or element. So we're going to kind of get more into what matter is. Matter is made of atoms. Think of atoms like the building blocks of all things, like little Lego pieces almost. Those combine together to form different molecules and compounds. What an element is a pure substance. So an element is just one type of atom, I guess you could say. And then molecules are arrangements of atoms, how they're arranged. So you can have several different types of elements combined to form compounds. Compounds are molecules. One way to think of it is compounds are all compounds are molecules, but not all molecules are compounds. Sometimes molecules are made of just multiple atoms of the same element. All right, so that's in there for your review. Now, I want to introduce you to a problem that I know a lot of different scientists. I've moved kind of all over the United States, and Samara Young is a lead chemist in a town called Westfield, and there's a water crisis. There's an issue there. There's not, I don't know if I'm going to call it a water crisis just yet, but a few neighbors have found a brown substance coming out of their water pipes, which makes the drinking water not good. So we're trying to figure out what might be the case with that. So I told her, I'm not teaching in person, but I have a lot of really bright students this year. I think they could handle this issue of, I'm going to present the issue to them and see what they kind of find out, different observations, things like that. And then maybe we can help her figure out what that brown substance is, even though she does have a lab, but she has less staff in it, obviously, due to COVID and all of that. So this is the kind of water crisis we're trying to figure out here. I will leave this slide up on your Google form for you to look at, just because that might kind of help. I made this kind of sketch of the way she described Westfield to me. We know that there's a nearby farm to the town, and farms, something I want to let you know if you didn't know, they all use fertilizer a lot of times to grow their crops. So that's something to take into consideration. There is a well that all of the pipes for the neighborhood of Westfield run from. And there is obviously the pipes taking the water to the neighborhood. So that's kind of a really simple sketch of what I think is going on in this town. I want your initial thoughts on what you think that brown substance could be. And then I also want you to kind of observe these three claims. I will also put this slide on your Google form for you to look at. Claim one, we kind of narrowed it down, her and I, to three possible things that it could be. Claim one would be that the brown substance is the same substance that makes up the pipes. So the pipe might be breaking down and then transporting that material onto the town of Westfield. Claim two is saying the brown substance is the same as the fertilizer. So the crops that need that fertilizer, somehow that may be getting into the well. And then claim three, the brown substance is not the same as either fertilizer or the substance that makes up the pipes. It's something else. So we're trying to figure out claim three, maybe a chemical reaction happened for claim three to be possible. So we're not sure. Those are the three things that we kind of narrowed it down to help you out. And then I also took pictures of these substances that she sent me from her lab, of the pipe substance, the fertilizer, and the brown substance. The brown substance is kind of like what she evaporated off of the water. You'll get into this in the next section of your Google form. Each of these three substances will be these three samples will be described for you, and you're going to be making observations on these three different samples, okay? And I'll give you an example of what that will look like. So in the next section, say you were just observing the well water sample. That's not one of them, but let's say you were. A good observation would be the well water sample is a clear liquid. If you could smell it, you would say maybe it's odorless or it does have an odor of some sort, but we can't smell it. So that we're not really at an advantage in that point of doing this virtually. When you look at the pipe water sample, an example of an observation of that would be the sample is brown liquid with tiny brown solid particles at the bottom. Okay, I don't want you to copy either of these because they're just examples. You'll see 3 different samples that you're going to be making observations about. And then our goal is trying to kind of figure out what our initial thoughts are about what this brown substance is in the water and making those observations as well. So I know you can do it. I'll keep these slides on your Google form for you to reference. If you have any initial ideas you want to run by me, reach out via email or the GoGuardian chat, or you can text my cell phone, either one. And I have full faith that you're going to do a great job of making these observations today. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Good luck.